Hey guys, Ben here. Today I'd like to present my new twisty puzzle, the Master Little Chop. This puzzle is the final puzzle in the series of edge-turning cubes. First you have the curvy copter and helicopter cubes. Then you have the curvy copter 2. Then you have the quad X puzzle. And then you have the decaf puzzle. And we also have a little chop. However, the master little chop, or at least a good functioning one, has been missing from the set. And it is now complete. I'm quite pleased with the results so far. The puzzle is very stable, pieces don't wiggle around very much. It looks very nice and very stable. And lastly, it turns way better than I was ever expecting. To be honest, I didn't expect the puzzle to turn at all. Well, obviously I expected it to turn, but nowhere near as good as it's turning now. Now, while it does turn pretty good, it's not without issues. Sometimes sides can catch, like there we go, just got a catch there. And often the catching actually happens internally, which isn't too pleasing because you can't really fix the internal catching. And this puzzle is also very complex. And also, pieces can still get a little loose, as you can see. So they still have a little bit of too much wiggle room, but it's still mostly quite stable. Just like any edge-turning cube, this puzzle jumbles. When I turn it to this angle, this cut now lines up. And it turns. Now this puzzle has two types of jumbling. The first type you're seeing here moves a very large chunk of pieces. And in the middle of a jumbling turn, you can turn it back as well. Like this. As you can see, this thing gets in a pretty big mess. That was only the first type of jumbling. The second type of jumbling involves moving a much smaller section. As you can see, this, well, just smaller section of pieces is now moving. In the middle of this turn, you can once again turn the puzzle back. This puzzle is probably very hard to solve. I do know several people who've solved this in simulators online. Here's just a commutator for you. But not that many people have solved it. And that's without jumbling. But honestly, with jumbling, this puzzle might be impossible to solve. And I'll show you why. If I do this, move the middle layer partially down, I now can turn this middle layer like this. And then I can move it back like this. Now in this state, as you can see, there are several pieces which are sticking up all over the place. And the puzzle still looks like it can turn just fine. And actually it can still turn, as you can see. But if I go to try to turn this face, nothing's happening. And originally I thought that was catching, or it was locking up, or that it was broken or something, but actually I realized there's something different that's happening. This puzzle is in a jumbled state, and while the outside looks like it can still turn, the inside is jumbled differently than the outside, and there's actually pieces that are jumbled in here which are inside, which are blocking the turns on the outside. Since this puzzle is built using the shells technique, there's actually hidden parts in here. There's actually a curvy copter in here, as well as a curvy copter 2, and then it builds out to the master lil chop. So actually some of these faces, in fact most of them, cannot turn anymore, even though on the outside it looks like it could still turn. And because of this, I'm wondering something. If you were to put this puzzle, if you were to scramble this puzzle with jumbling, and then put it back into the solved state using a different sequence of moves than what you did when you scrambled it to get it solved, might there be a situation where the internal puzzles are jumbled and so you can't turn some of the sides anymore, even though the outside looks as though it's unjumbled? And this is what I'm wondering, because if that's the case, then there's no way to solve this puzzle. If you can't see the internal jumbling to unjumble it, then you can't solve the puzzle. But perhaps the outside pieces, when they're jumbled, they're linked to the jumbling in the inside. So perhaps when you put this puzzle back into a cube, the inside is forced to also be completely unblocked as well. That's just my theory. But this puzzle is probably going to be very interesting to solve. I designed this puzzle in SolidWorks and had it 3D printed from Shapeways in Y-strong and flexible material. I dyed it black using RIT dye and stickered it with pre-cut stickers from Oliver Nagy. Thanks for that, by the way. So, as you can see in the video, the puzzle does have turning issues, and it doesn't turn perfectly. So I need to make some adjustments to the mechanism to make it turn much better. When I do that, I will hopefully be able to make this puzzle available for sale on Shapeways, but that's still iffy at the moment. So anyway, that's it for the Master Lil Chop. I hope you like my puzzle, and thanks for watching.